Maya Johnson pushed her shopping cart through the busy Westfield Mall, checking her phone for the time. She had only 2 hours before she needed to pick up her daughter Emma from soccer practice. The mall was packed with weekend shoppers, families, with strollers and teenagers hanging around the food court. Maya walked past the loud music coming from the electronics store and headed toward the toy section. Emma's 9th birthday was next week, and Maya wanted to find the perfect gift. Money was tight since her mother's medical bills had piled up, but she had saved $50 from her social worker salary to buy something special. Emma had been asking for a new art set for months, and Maya hoped to find one on sale. As she walked past the big fountain in the center of the mall, Maya heard a small voice crying. She stopped and looked around. Near the fountain's edge, a little boy sat alone on a bench. He looked about 6 years old, with curly brown hair and big brown eyes filled with tears. He was wearing expensive clothes, a neat blue sweater and dark pants that looked like they cost more than Maya's entire outfit. Maya looked around to see if any adults were nearby watching the child. She saw shoppers walking past, talking on their phones or looking in store windows. Nobody seemed to notice the crying boy. Maya felt her heart squeeze with worry. Where were his parents? She walked over to the bench and knelt down in front of the little boy. "Hi there, sweetie," she said in a soft voice. "Are you okay? What's wrong?" The boy looked up at her with tear-filled eyes. "I can't find my daddy," he said between small sobs. "I was looking at the toy cars in the window, and when I turned around, he was gone." Maya felt a familiar feeling in her chest. She worked with children every day at the social services office, and she knew how scared and alone this little boy must feel. "What's your name, honey?" she asked gently. "Lucas," the boy said, wiping his nose with the back of his hand. "Lucas Bennett. My daddy said to stay close, but I saw the cars and I just wanted to look. Now I can't find him anywhere." Maya sat down on the bench next to Lucas. "Well, Lucas, my name is Maya, and I'm going to help you find your daddy, okay? Don't worry, we'll find him." Lucas nodded and looked at her with hope in his eyes. Maya reached into her purse and pulled out a small packet of tissues. "Here, let's clean up your face," she said, gently wiping away his tears. "Can you tell me what your daddy looks like?" "He's really tall," Lucas said, taking a shaky breath. "Taller than everyone. And he has dark hair like mine. He was wearing his work clothes, a black suit with a tie. He had to take a phone call, and he told me to wait right there. But then I saw the toy cars." Maya noticed that Lucas was holding a small red toy car in his hand. His grip was so tight that his knuckles were white. "That's a nice car," she said. "Did your daddy buy that for you?" Lucas shook his head. "I brought it from home. It's my favorite. Daddy says it looks like his first car when he was young." He held it up to show Maya. Even though it was just a toy, Maya could tell it was expensive and well made. "Your daddy must love you very much," Maya said. "I bet he's looking everywhere for you right now. He's probably really worried." More tears started to fall down Lucas's cheeks. "What if he left without me? What if he thinks I ran away?" "Oh, honey, no," Maya said quickly. "Daddies don't leave their children. He's looking for you, I promise. Sometimes in big places like this mall, it's easy to get separated. But we're going to find him." Maya looked around the mall again. She could see security guards walking around, but none of them seemed to be looking for a missing child. She needed to let them know about Lucas. But first, she wanted to make sure the little boy felt safe and calm. "Are you thirsty, Lucas?" she asked. "There's a juice stand right over there. How about we get you something to drink while we figure out the best way to find your daddy?" Lucas nodded. Maya took his small hand in hers and they walked the short distance to the juice stand. She bought him a small apple juice box and a bag of crackers. As Lucas drank his juice, Maya noticed how well-mannered he was. He said thank you and please without being reminded. Someone had taught him good manners. While Lucas ate his crackers, Maya looked around more carefully. She noticed that several people were looking at them, or more specifically looking at Lucas. Some people seemed to recognize him, whispering to each other and pointing. Maya found this strange. Why would people recognize a 6-year-old boy? Lucas, Maya said carefully. Do people know you? I notice some people are looking at you like they've seen you before. Lucas shrugged his small shoulders. Sometimes people take pictures when I'm with Daddy. He says it's because of his work. But I don't really understand. I just want to play and be normal. Maya felt a small worry in her stomach. What kind of work did Lucas's daddy do that made people want to take pictures? She hoped the family wasn't in any kind of trouble or danger. But looking at Lucas's innocent face, she pushed those thoughts away. Right now, the most important thing was getting him back to his father safely. Okay, Lucas, Maya said, standing up. I think we should go talk to the security guards. They can help us find your daddy faster. They have ways to make announcements over the speakers so your daddy will know where you are. Lucas finished his juice and stood up too. He reached for Maya's hand without being asked. Will you stay with me? He asked. I don't want to be alone again. Of course I'll stay with you, Maya said, squeezing his small hand gently. I won't leave you until we find your daddy and make sure you're safe with him. That's a promise. As they walked toward the security office, Maya felt good about helping this scared little boy. She thought about her own daughter, Emma, and how frightened she would be if she got lost in a big place like this. Every child deserved to have someone care about them when they were scared and alone. Maya had no idea that this simple act of kindness was about to change her life forever. Maya and Lucas walked hand in hand toward the security office near the main entrance of the mall. Lucas's small fingers held tightly to hers, and she could feel him staying close to her side. The security office had a big window where Maya could see two guards sitting at desks with computer screens showing camera views of different parts of the mall. Hello, Maya said to the security guard at the front desk. This little boy got separated from his father. His name is Lucas Bennett, and we need help finding his dad. The security guard, a middle-aged man with gray hair, looked down at Lucas with concern. When did you last see your father, son? He asked. Maybe 20 minutes ago, Lucas said quietly. By the toy store with all the cars in the window. The why? Guard nodded and picked up his radio. We'll make an announcement right away, he said. Mr. Bennett, if you can hear this, your son Lucas is safe at the main security office. Maya waited with Lucas as the announcement played over the mall speakers. She expected to see a man in a black suit come running toward them within minutes, but after 10 minutes passed, nobody came. Lucas started to look worried again. Maybe your daddy didn't hear the announcement, Maya said to Lucas. Sometimes when adults are really focused on looking for someone, they don't hear other sounds around them. What do you think we should do? Lucas looked up at her with his big brown eyes. Can we go look for him? Maybe if we walk around, we'll find him. Maya thought about this. She could wait at the security office, but she could see that Lucas was getting more anxious just sitting there. Maybe it would be better for him to feel like he was helping with the search. Okay, she said to the security guard. We're going to walk around and look for his father. If anyone comes looking for Lucas, can you call my cell phone? She wrote down her number on a piece of paper. Maya and Lucas left the security office and walked back into the busy mall. Let's think like your daddy, Maya said. If you were looking for a little boy, where would you look first? The toy stores, Lucas said immediately. Daddy knows I love toys, especially cars and dinosaurs. They walked to the big toy store where Lucas had been looking at the cars. Maya asked the young woman working there if she had seen a tall man in a black suit looking for a child. Oh, yes, the woman said. About 15 minutes ago. He seemed really worried. He asked if we'd seen a little boy with curly hair. I told him no, but he looked through the whole store anyway. Maya felt hopeful. They were on the right track. Which way did he go when he left? She asked. The woman pointed toward the other end of the mall. He went that way, toward the department stores. Maya and Lucas walked in that direction. As they walked, Maya asked Lucas more questions to keep him talking and calm. Tell me about your daddy's work, she said. What does he do? He has a big office with lots of computers, Lucas said. People come to meetings and they talk about numbers and charts. Sometimes he has to travel to other cities. He says he's building something important, but I don't really understand it. Maya noticed that Lucas spoke about his father with love and respect. This was clearly a child who was well cared for and loved. "Do you and your daddy do fun things together?" she asked. Lucas's face lit up. "Oh yes. We go to the park and play catch, and we build things with blocks. Last weekend we made a huge castle that was taller than me, and Daddy reads to me every night before bed. We're reading a book about a boy who goes on adventures." As they walked past different stores, Maya kept asking employees if they had seen a tall man in a suit looking for a child. Some said yes, others said no. They were clearly following the right path, but always seemed to be one step behind Lucas's father. They checked the electronics store, where the teenager working there said a worried-looking man had asked about a missing child just 10 minutes earlier. They went to the bookstore, where the manager said the same thing. Maya could tell that Lucas's father was searching just as hard as they were. At the food court, Maya bought Lucas a small pretzel to keep his energy up. As he ate, she noticed more people looking at them. Some people were taking pictures with their phones, trying to be sneaky about it. Maya found this very strange and a little uncomfortable. "Lucas," she said quietly, "why do you think people are taking pictures of you?" Lucas looked around and saw the people with phones. He sighed, like he was much older than 6 years old. "It happens a lot when I'm with Daddy. He says people are interested in our family because of his work. I don't like it very much. I just want to be a regular kid." Maya felt sad for Lucas. No child should have to deal with strangers taking their picture. She moved her body to block the view of the people with phones and helped Lucas finish his pretzel in peace. "Your daddy must have a very important job," Maya said. "I guess so," Lucas said. "But I wish his job wasn't so important sometimes. Then maybe people wouldn't always be looking at us. And maybe Daddy wouldn't have to take so many phone calls." Maya understood now why Lucas had wandered away. His father was probably on an important business call and couldn't give Lucas his full attention. These things happened even to good parents. They continued their search through the department stores. At the men's clothing store, the salesperson said a man fitting that description had been there asking about a lost child. He looked really upset, the salesperson said. He even asked if he could look in our back storage room, thinking maybe the boy had wandered back there. Maya could imagine how scared and desperate Lucas's father must be feeling. As a parent herself, she knew the terrible fear that comes when you can't find your child. Every minute must feel like an hour to him. They searched through 2 more department stores and 3 smaller shops. Each time they were told that Lucas's father had been there just minutes before. Maya began to feel frustrated. They were like 2 ships passing in the night, always missing each other. "Don't worry, Lucas," Maya said, seeing the tired look on his face. "We're going to find your daddy. He's looking for you just as hard as we're looking for him." Just as Maya was about to suggest they return to the security office to wait, she heard a man's voice calling out frantically in the distance. "Lucas! Lucas!" The voice was getting closer. The voice calling Lucas's name grew louder and more desperate. Maya felt Lucas's hand tighten in hers as he heard it too. "Daddy?" Lucas called out, his voice small and hopeful. "Lucas! Lucas, where are you?" The man's voice was much closer now, filled with panic and relief at the same time. Maya looked around the busy mall corridor and saw a tall man in a black suit pushing through the crowd of shoppers. His dark hair was messy, like he had been running his hands through it. His tie was loose around his neck, and his usually neat appearance looked disheveled. Even from a distance, Maya could see the family resemblance between him and Lucas. "Daddy!" Lucas shouted, letting go of Maya's hand and running toward the man. The tall man saw Lucas and his face changed completely. The worry and fear disappeared, replaced by pure joy and relief. He dropped to his knees right there in the middle of the mall walkway and caught Lucas in his arms, holding him so tightly that Maya thought he might never let go. "Oh, Lucas," the man said, his voice shaking. "I was so scared. I looked everywhere, for you. I thought something terrible had happened." Maya watched as father and son hugged each other. She could see tears in the man's eyes, and Lucas was crying too, but these were happy tears now. Other shoppers walked around them, some stopping to watch the emotional reunion. After a long moment, the man stood up, keeping Lucas close to his side. He looked around until his eyes found Maya standing nearby. He walked over to her, and Maya could see that his hands were still shaking slightly. "Are you the person who helped my son?" he asked, his voice thick with emotion. "Yes," Maya said simply. "My name is Maya Johnson. I found Lucas by the fountain, and we've been looking for you." The man's eyes filled with tears again. "I cannot thank you enough," he said. "When I realized he was gone, and it was the worst feeling I've ever had in my life. I've been searching for over an hour." Maya noticed that the man's expensive watch showed that it was much later than she had thought. She had been with Lucas for more than an hour herself, but it had felt like only minutes. "I'm Richard Bennett," the man said, extending his hand to Maya. "This is my son Lucas, but I think you two have already become friends." Maya shook Richard's hand and noticed how soft it was, like someone who worked in an office rather than with his hands. "Lucas is a wonderful boy," she said. "He was very brave and very polite. You should be proud of him." Richard looked down at Lucas with love and pride. "I am proud of him," he said, "but I'm also sorry that he scared us both today." "Lucas, what happened? I told you to stay right by the phone store while I took my call." Lucas looked down at his feet, still holding his toy car tightly. "I saw the cars in the toy store window, Daddy. They had one that looked just like my red car. I only wanted to look for a minute, but when I turned around, you weren't there anymore." Richard knelt down to Lucas's level. "I know you didn't mean to scare me," he said gently, "but when I finished my phone call and you weren't there, I didn't know what to think. I looked in every store. I asked every security guard. I even had them make announcements." "We heard one of the announcements," Maya said. "We went to the security office first, but when no one came, we decided to search for you ourselves." Richard looked at Maya with surprise and gratitude. "You spent your whole afternoon helping a stranger's child." Maya felt a little embarrassed by his attention. "Anyone would have done the same thing," she said. "Lucas needed help, and I couldn't just walk away." "Not everyone would have stopped," Richard said firmly. "And not everyone would have stayed with him for over an hour, making sure he felt safe and cared for." He paused and looked at Maya more carefully. "Can I ask what you do for work?" "I'm a social worker," Maya said. "I work with children and families who need help." Richard nodded as if this made perfect sense. "That explains why you were so good with Lucas. You know how to take care of children." Maya noticed that more people were gathering around them, taking pictures with their phones. Some were trying to be sneaky about it, but others were openly pointing and whispering. She felt uncomfortable with all the attention. Richard noticed the growing crowd, too. "We should probably move somewhere more private," he said. "People tend to notice when I'm out in public with Lucas." Maya was curious about this comment, but she didn't want to ask personal questions. It was clear that Richard Bennett was someone important, someone that people recognized. The expensive clothes, the way he spoke, and the attention from strangers all pointed to him being wealthy or famous in some way. "Lucas," Richard said, "what do you say to Miss Maya for taking such good care of you?" Lucas looked up at Maya with his big brown eyes. "Thank you for helping me find my daddy," he said. "And thank you for the juice and the crackers and the pretzel. You were really nice to me when I was scared." Maya knelt down to Lucas's level. "You're very welcome, sweetie. I'm just happy we found your daddy and that you're safe." She stood up to leave, but Richard reached out to stop her. "Please wait," he said. "I would like to do something to thank you properly. You have no idea what you've done for us today." "You don't need to thank me," Maya said. "I'm just glad Lucas is safe with his father where he belongs. But I do need to thank you," Richard insisted. "What you did today, it means everything to me. Lucas is all I have in this world. He's my whole life." Maya could hear the deep love and emotion in Richard's voice. She could also see something else in his eyes, a sadness that seemed to go deeper than just today's scare. "Are you a single father?" she asked gently. Richard nodded. "Yes. It's been just Lucas and me for 2 years now. His mother. We lost her in an accident. Maya felt her heart go out to both father and son. She understood now why Richard had been so terrified when Lucas went missing. He had already lost one of the most important people in his life. "I'm sorry for your loss," Maya said softly. "Thank you," Richard said. "It's been difficult, but Lucas gives me strength every day." The crowd around them was growing larger, and Maya could see that Lucas was getting uncomfortable with all the attention. "Maybe we should find somewhere quieter to talk," she suggested. Richard looked around at the growing crowd of people taking pictures and whispering. He gently picked up Lucas and turned to Maya. "There's a quiet coffee shop on the second floor," he said. "Would you mind if we went there to talk? I really would like to thank you properly, away from all these people." Maya checked her phone and realized she still had some time before she needed to pick up Emma from soccer practice. She was curious about this man and his son, and something about Richard's sincere gratitude made her want to listen to what he had to say. "Okay," she said, "but I can only stay for a few minutes." They walked together to the escalator, with Richard carrying Lucas. Maya noticed how the security guards they passed nodded respectfully at Richard, and the coffee shop manager quickly found them a quiet table in the corner, away from other customers. Richard ordered coffee for himself and Maya, and hot chocolate for Lucas. When the waitress brought their drinks, she smiled extra widely at Richard and seemed nervous, like she was meeting someone famous. "Mr. Bennett," the waitress said, "it's such an honor to have you here. I hope you and your son are enjoying your visit to our mall." "Thank you," Richard said politely but simply. Maya could tell he was used to this kind of attention but didn't seem to enjoy it very much. After the waitress left, Maya looked at Richard with curiosity. "People seem to know who you are," she said. Richard smiled, but it was a tired smile. "Yes, unfortunately they do. I'm the CEO of Bennett Industries. We're a technology company that makes computer software and hardware for businesses." Maya had heard of Bennett Industries. Their logo was on computers at her office, and she had seen commercials for their products on television. She had no idea the company was so big or important, but now Richard's expensive clothes and the way people treated him made more sense. "You must be very successful," Maya said. "The company does well," Richard said modestly. "But success in business doesn't mean much when you can't even keep track of your own child in a mall." His voice became sad and worried again. Lucas was drinking his hot chocolate and coloring on a paper placemat the waitress had brought him. He looked happy and safe now, but Maya could see that Richard was still shaken by what had happened. "You're a good father," Maya said gently. "Anyone can see how much you love Lucas. What happened today could happen to any parent. You are taking an important phone call, and children wander off sometimes. The important thing is that he's safe now." Richard looked at Maya with gratitude. "You're very kind," he said. "But I keep thinking about what could have happened if you hadn't found him. If someone with bad intentions had seen him alone." Maya understood his fear. In her work as a social worker, she had seen cases where children were hurt by strangers. But she also knew that most people in the world were good people who would help a lost child, just like she had done. "Tell me about yourself," Richard said, changing the subject. "You said you're a social worker. Do you have children of your own?" "I have a daughter," Maya said. "Her name is Emma, and she's 8 years old. I'm a single mother too." Richard's expression softened with understanding. "It's not easy, is it? Raising a child alone?" "No, it's not," Maya agreed. "But Emma is the best thing in my life. She makes all the hard work worth it." "What happened to her father, if you don't mind me asking?" Richard said gently. Maya stirred her coffee and thought about how to answer. "He left when Emma was 2 years old. He said being a father was too much responsibility. We haven't heard from him since." Richard shook his head with disgust. "I can't understand men who walk away from their children. Lucas is the most important thing in my world. Even with all the success of my company, none of it would matter without him." Maya could see the genuine love Richard had for his son. Lucas looked up from his coloring and smiled at his father, and Richard's whole face lit up with joy. "What about Lucas's mother?" Maya asked carefully. "You mentioned that you lost her." Richard's expression became very sad. "Her name was Jennifer. She died in a car accident 2 years ago. A drunk driver ran a red light and hit her car. She was coming home from her book club meeting." Maya felt her heart break for Richard and Lucas. "I'm so sorry. That must have been incredibly difficult." "It was the worst day of my life," Richard said quietly. Lucas was only 4 years old. He kept asking when Mommy was coming home, and I had to try to explain something that I couldn't even understand myself. Lucas looked up from his coloring. "I miss Mommy," he said simply. "But Daddy takes good care of me now." Richard reached over and ruffled Lucas's hair. "We take care of each other, don't we, buddy?" Maya watched this interaction and felt amazed by how close father and son were. Despite their loss and sadness, they had built a strong bond together. "It must be hard to balance running a big company and being a single father," Maya said. Richard nodded. "It is. I try to work from home as much as possible so I can be with Lucas. But sometimes I have important calls or meetings that I can't avoid. That's what happened today. I had a call with business partners in Japan, and the time difference meant I had to take it while we were out shopping." Maya understood now why Richard had been distracted when Lucas wandered away. He was trying to be a good businessman and a good father at the same time, and sometimes those two things conflicted with each other. "Do you have help? A nanny or babysitter?" Maya asked. "We have a housekeeper who helps during the day when Lucas is at school," Richard said. "But I don't like to leave him with strangers very much. After losing Jennifer, I worry about everything. I know I probably worry too much, but Lucas is all I have left." Maya could hear the love and fear in Richard's voice. She understood completely because she felt the same way about Emma. "You're not worrying too much," she said. "You're being a good father. Lucas is lucky to have someone who cares about him so deeply." Richard looked at Maya with appreciation. "Thank you for saying that. Sometimes I wonder if I'm doing enough, if I'm making the right choices for him." "From what I can see, you're doing a wonderful job," Maya said. "Lucas is polite, well-behaved, and clearly feels loved and secure. Those are the most important things." Richard smiled, and this time it was a real, warm smile. "You have a gift for making people feel better," he said. "I can see why you chose to work with children and families." Maya looked at her phone and realized she needed to leave soon to pick up Emma from soccer practice. "I should probably go," she said. "My daughter will be waiting for me." Richard nodded, but looked like he wanted to say something more. "Maya," he said, "before you go, I need to ask you something. Would it be okay if I got your phone number? I would really like to stay in touch and find a proper way to thank you for what you did today." Maya hesitated. She wasn't used to giving her phone number to strangers, even nice ones like Richard. But something about his sincere gratitude and the way he cared for Lucas made her feel that he was trustworthy. "Okay," she said, writing her number on a napkin. "But really, you don't need to thank me. I was just doing what any decent person would do." "That's where you're wrong," Richard said, taking the napkin carefully. "Not everyone would have stopped to help. Not everyone would have spent their afternoon taking care of a scared child. What you did today was special, and I won't forget it." Maya said goodbye to Lucas, who gave her a big hug and thanked her again for helping him. As she walked away from the coffee shop, she felt good about the afternoon, even though her shopping plans had been completely changed. She had helped a child in need, and that was more important than anything else. 2 days later, Maya was at work at the social services office when her phone rang. The caller ID showed a number she didn't recognize. "Hello, is this Maya Johnson?" a woman's voice asked. "Yes, this is Maya. My name is Patricia Wells, and I'm Mr. Richard Bennett's personal assistant. Mr. Bennett would like to meet with you this evening if possible. Would you be available at 7 o'clock? Maya was surprised. She hadn't expected to hear from Richard so soon, or through his assistant. "What does he want to meet about?" she asked. "He'd like to discuss a way to properly thank you for helping his son at the mall," Patricia said. "He suggested meeting at the corner cafe on Main Street if that works for you." Maya thought about it. She was curious about what Richard wanted to say, and the corner cafe was a public place close to her apartment. "Okay," she said. "I'll be there at 7. That evening, Maya arrived at the cafe and found Richard already sitting at a table in the corner. He was dressed more casually than he had been at the mall, wearing dark pants and a simple blue shirt. When he saw her, he stood up and smiled warmly. "Maya, thank you so much for coming," he said, pulling out a chair for her. "I hope I'm not taking you away from anything important." "It's fine," Maya said, sitting down. "Emma is doing homework and my neighbor is watching her for an hour." Richard ordered coffee for both of them, and Maya noticed he seemed nervous. He kept checking a folder that was sitting on the table next to him. "How is Lucas doing?" Maya asked. "He's doing well," Richard said, smiling. "He's been talking about you constantly since Saturday. He calls you his angel lady and wants to know when he'll see you again." Maya felt touched by this. "He's a sweet boy. I'm glad he's okay." Richard's expression became more serious. "Maya, I asked you here because I've been thinking about what happened at the mall, and I realize that I owe you much more than just a simple thank you." "You don't owe me anything," Maya said quickly. "Please let me finish," Richard said gently. "After you left on Saturday, I couldn't stop thinking about your kindness and compassion. So I did some research." Maya felt a little uncomfortable. "What kind of research?" "I hope you don't mind, but I wanted to understand who you are and what your life is like," Richard said. "I found out about your work as a social worker, about your daughter Emma, and about some of the challenges you've been facing." Maya felt her face get warm with embarrassment. "What challenges?" Richard opened the folder and pulled out some papers. "I learned about your mother's cancer diagnosis and the medical bills that have been difficult for you to pay. I learned about Emma's school needs and how hard you've been working to provide for her. I learned about your dedication to helping other families even when your own family is struggling." Maya felt tears starting to form in her eyes. She hadn't told anyone about how difficult things had been financially since her mother's cancer treatment started. The medical bills were overwhelming, and she had been working extra hours just to keep up with basic expenses. "Why did you look into my personal life?" she asked, feeling confused and a little upset. "Because I wanted to find a meaningful way to show my gratitude," Richard said sincerely. "What you did for Lucas wasn't just about that one afternoon. You showed him kindness and compassion during one of the scariest moments of his young life. You made him feel safe when he was lost and afraid. That's worth more to me than you could ever imagine." Richard reached into the folder and pulled out an envelope. "Maya, I want to give you this." Maya opened the envelope and found a check for $50,000. She stared at it in shock, unable to believe what she was seeing. "I can't accept this," she said, trying to hand the check back to Richard. "This is too much money." "Please don't give it back," Richard said. "I know about your mother's medical bills and how you've been struggling to pay them. I know about Emma's school fees and the things she needs that you haven't been able to afford. This money can help solve those problems." Maya felt overwhelmed. $50,000 would pay off all of her mother's medical bills and still leave, enough to put some money away for Emma's future education. "But why?" she asked. "Why would you do this for someone you barely know?" Richard's eyes became soft and emotional. "Because what you did on Saturday reminded me of something I had forgotten. In the business world, people usually help others because they want something in return. But you helped Lucas simply because he needed help. You didn't know who I was or what I could do for you. You just saw a scared child and decided to care for him." He paused and looked directly into Maya's eyes. "That kind of pure kindness is rare, Maya. It's precious, and it's exactly the kind of example I want Lucas to see in the world." Maya wiped tears from her eyes. "I still don't think I can accept this much money." "There's more," Richard said, pulling another set of papers from the folder. "I'd like to offer you a job." Maya looked at him in surprise. "A job?" "I'm starting a new charitable foundation through Bennett Industries," Richard explained. "We want to help families and children who are struggling, just like the families you work with now. I'd like you to be the director of community outreach. The salary would be 3 times what you're making now, plus full benefits for you and Emma. Maya felt like she was dreaming. Are you serious? Completely serious, Richard said. You have the experience, the compassion, and the dedication we need. But more than that, you have the heart for this work. You proved that on Saturday. Maya sat quietly for a moment, trying to process everything Richard was offering her. The row. Money would solve her immediate financial problems, and the job would allow her to help many more families while providing security for Emma's future. This is all because I helped Lucas at the mall? She asked. It's because of who you are as a person, Richard said. The way you helped Lucas showed me your character. The research I did showed me your qualifications and your dedication. Together, those things make you exactly the person we need for this foundation. Maya looked at the check and the job offer again. I don't know what to say. Say yes, Richard said with a smile. Say yes and help us make a difference in the lives of families who need it most. Maya thought about Emma, about her mother's medical bills, about all the families she could help with the resources of a major corporation behind her. She thought about Lucas and how one act of simple kindness had led to this incredible opportunity. Yes, she said, smiling through her tears. Yes, I'll take the job. Richard reached across the table and shook her hand. Welcome to the Bennett Foundation, Maya. I have a feeling you're going to change a lot of lives. As Maya walked home that evening, she realized that while she had been trying to help Lucas find his father, she had actually found something she didn't even know she was looking for, a chance to make a real difference in the world, and the security to give Emma the future she deserved. Sometimes the smallest acts of kindness lead to the biggest changes in life.